if you want to travel and you have kids, you are going to have to sacrifice a bit and just kind of not think too hard about it and just go for it.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, you'll talk yourself out of doing it, and you won't travel.
And the guy turns back to me as he's leaving, right? He's just an asshole and just walks off with his cart,
Man, I'm beginning to just, are you the victim, or do people just not like you in the general public? My wife texts me after, she's like, if you're going to be doing this podcast, you have to wear better clothes.
Oh, she didn't like how you were dressed.
Yeah, so literally I threw this kind of sailor sweater on.
What's funny is I felt like I dressed up for the last one, and I saw you, and I'm like, oh, he wants to keep it more cash. And so this time I came with the more stretchy pants.
Yeah, you were going to pop the top today.
Yeah.
I'm down to do this in wife beaters.
I like the idea of a little inconsistency, right? Like some days maybe we show up in a suit and tie. Other days, it's like crotch worn sweatpants, where it's starting to fray a little bit.
Especially if it's crotch warm, it depends on the camera angle, but
yeah,
I mean, that could be a good show. I was thinking even from our beds, just be laying down in bed and just kind of have a mic and chat from there. Because that's usually when I give the best material. The best insight I have is
you have great insight from that bed.
Yeah, it's right when I wake up because I'm kind of like coming out of a dream state. And so
you've been bouncing back and forth between dimensions.
If I had a notepad right next to me every time I wake up, I'd come off as a genius at this point.
Yeah, it sucks because you forget the ideas, and there's nothing you can do about that, right? There's no way. You're not writing stuff down that early in the morning, right? People who do that are psychotic.
Yeah, they're kind of weird, but I've done it before. I've thought, I should write that down. That's a good story. And then it ends up being I woke up and thought, that's an original idea. Like, that could be a good movie.
See this?
And literally, like, within the next couple of days, I found out that the movie's already been done, and I'd seen the movie. So it was just something that my subconscious was just kind of...
Yeah, mine would backfire almost every time. Kelsey would read the list. She'd be like, wait, you were with who last night? And I'm like, no, this was a dream. Okay.
So you're getting in trouble for your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that before.
Yeah.
Dude, what's driving me crazy right now, even coming in today, I have a four-way stop right by my house, and I'm so sick of it. I can't stand it because it's so uncomfortable. There's so many people coming, and you're deciding, like, all right, am I going to be the nice guy at this four-way stop? But they're probably planning on the same thing, so you end up sitting there for like 10 seconds, and it's really uncomfortable. Then you start to go, and then they start to go, and then it's just this back and forth. So from now on, I'm just rolling through every four-way stop, and everyone else can just kind of adapt to my aggressiveness.
Yeah, the Europeans, I hate the Europeans for so many things, but those traffic circles, they're amazing.
They are amazing. Like, just to feel like you keep moving.
Yeah, I don't feel like it saves any time, but you do feel like you don't have that awkward moment where you're like, okay, does he go? And then you both like kind of creech, like, it's kind of laughing, but one of you gets pissed in that situation.
Yeah, because I actually eventually if they go in front of me, I kind of hate them.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, there's resentment. It's like,
but at the same time, I let them go.
There should be a psychology devoted to like the effects on the human brain of the four-way.
Well, I did that, and apparently the Europeans have already implemented their strategy to beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's almost like the same, like when you're like in an elevator and you're deciding like if you want to talk to the person or not. I just hate these weird moments like that. Even in the four-way stop, you have to like make eye contact with the people, and you kind of give them the, like, what does a head nod mean? I don't know. Or
like a little wave, like wave, like.
And you give the right, like, this is what I also do. This is a strategy. If there's a big truck, for some reason, I'm like, you go.
Really?
Yeah. The big truck people, like,
I always sneak past. If I'm like, if it's for sure there right away, I'm going to sneak past the big truck because.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking like truck. I'm talking like a lifted F-150 or something. They pull up and you're like, hey, this guy probably means more business than I do. So. Yeah.
No, you're right. You gotta yield to the alpha in that moment,
Yeah.
Let them do their thing.
I'm just sick of driving. I'm just done with it. I can't do. We were talking about this yesterday, but just the fast lane, at least in Utah, is stupid.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you're saying this because of like we've driven a lot in Colorado, and Colorado has that law, the fast lane law, where if you're in the fast lane and you're not passing somebody, then a cop can pull you over and give you a ticket. I'm not all about like more reasons for cops to give tickets, but that might be a good one to implement, right?
Yeah, it's just I mean, every once in a while, if I'm in the fast lane and I'm not paying attention and I look in my rearview mirror and someone's tailing me, I feel really embarrassed.
Yeah,
So I
me too.
hurry and get out of the way, like fast. Some of these people never look back. It's just like, hey, I'm going 60 miles an hour. I'm not looking back. And they're always old. They're always old.
Yeah.
And I love old people, but
Yeah, I think
you heard about grandpa.
yeah, I heard
So our grandpa is not supposed to drive. And every time he goes out, he loves to drive, but every time he goes out, something happens. So he just wanted to go to the bank, which is like 3 blocks down the road. And he like ran into a pole and just kind of ditched his car. That was recently. Like that's happened probably 10 times in the last couple of years. So their
but
liabilities.
you
out
can't
there.
like I mean if we learn from Biden with this last thing, you know, like you can't prosecute an old person because they're
Yeah.
just adorable, you know.
Yeah,
In the
they
end.
can be adorable. Is that so? That's official. Then we got just a Biden, Trump. Those are our
Yeah,
top
we're
guys
screwed.
on in the country. That's who's representing USA.
Yeah.
The cream has risen to the top, and
Yeah, it
that's who we
has.
have.
No, and literally like the mushed peas cream has risen to the top, and it's just funny how you see like the war camps already starting, right? And like the excuses because you hear them on both sides, right? Of like, you know, why the last 4 years, you know, has been terrible by the Trump side, right? And by Biden, like why it's been okay, and then like all the Trump mistakes, like you're feeling like there's a lot of tribal play. You know, these people just really making excuses for their team at this point. But this is when, you know, this is a perfect time to announce my candidacy.
It is a great time.
Yeah.
As long as we hide some of these old
Oh, I got a lot of
skits and
skeletons.
videos, a lot of skeletons.
Yeah.
I can hide them. I'll be your, what is it? Robert Kennedy. Is he kind of similar to that with JFK?
Yeah, where he was just trying to like cover up all the Marilyn
I
Monroe
could be
stuff.
that guy. And then the little brother eventually like flies off a river and kills somebody.
Oh, Drew. Yeah, but Drew's destined for that,
Yeah.
right? He's got that.
Which Kennedy was that? That I literally was just in Martha's Vineyard. I went to the bridge. It's where they shot Jaws. I don't know. It's right there in Martha's Vineyard, but I can't.
Let's call him Drew Kennedy.
Ted?
Yeah,
I think it was Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, Ted. He was the senator. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that got, and that's a big conspiracy too. Like they don't know if he, like had a girl because he was married. Like had a younger girl with him.
Yeah.
But she drowned, and he
Yeah.
swam back to the shore and didn't tell the cops till the next day. And so it was just this big conspiracy.
Yeah. But the craziest conspiracy right now, and I know like England holds a special place in your heart, has to do with the Princess Kate.
Yeah,
right?
that's a bummer.
You heard about this?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it.
So essentially, you know, she was supposed to get this surgery on her stomach or whatever. And let me preface this: I don't really care that much about the royal family, but
Kate's awesome though.
Yeah.
She seems like I like her.
yeah, I just don't like this like idea of being special, like born special, right? I don't like people thinking they're better than other people just because of how they're born.
I mean,
But-
we do think that way, but
For sure. Like I look down, I don't like
Yeah.
a lot of eye contact from
yeah, but-
people until they've proven.
yeah. Go on.
But anyways, Kate, she's supposed to get the surgery. The surgery, you know, never or like she's like they like pre-announce it, right? That she's going to be out of the spotlight for a little bit. But it's been a really long time. And then all these conspiracy theorists are like this has been way too long for a stomach surgery. So they start questioning it. So she releases a family photo, which is like I mean, you've seen those like Google AI images, like photos
Yeah.
lately, right? Like it's like a step better than that, right? It just looks very weird.
Huh.
It's obviously doctored and fake, right? And so they get called. So she gets called out on it immediately, and then there's like this, like the news just like ends up sending this message to just kill this whole story, right? And so they kill the photo, they pull it all down, right? But you know, people can save those on hard drives. People are like analyzing them and really confused at this whole situation. And then Kate gets on social media and was like, "Oh, I dabble in amateur photography, so I was using Photoshop." But nobody's really buying that either because it was
Yeah.
that weird.
So do you think they're like breaking up and this is like
That's like one of the theories, and
that'd be terrible. I think they're a good couple.
yeah, I know,
Probably
no,
weird, but
well,
I actually really enjoyed them as a couple.
Well, I think that's the problem, right? Is the stability of this super special family really just relies on because the Magna Carta. I mean, it got them guys good, right? I mean, they ran out of power.
For
quick.
our listeners, the Magna Carta it's written a long time ago. Like, what was it like 1300s?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably don't understand the reference 100%, but essentially it limits the power of a king.
Yeah, so these guys, I mean, they've got basically only have Kate left, right? Since the Magna
Yeah.
Carta, unless we
Well, I
we
hope it all works out for them because I do appreciate them for some weird reason. I like watching them.
yeah, they'll work out, in the end. And the only reason I'm interested in this is because it's all like my wife talks about, right? Like the CIA could be like actively like working to destroy the world, and none of that stuff really matters to women, right? But
Yeah.
what does matter is where the freak is Kate, right?
Yeah.
Like, where's this girl?
Where is Kate? We're
Yeah.
going to find that out. By the next podcast, we'll have answers for
Well,
you.
I actually reached out to her to be on this podcast.
Oh, you texted
She
her.
said a picture, like an AI picture.
Was it a photo? Yeah. Or how big were the thumbs? Yeah. Kate, you got to work on your Photoshop skills.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, man.
If you guys can't tell, I'm sick, and
Your
like-
voice sounds great,
but-
though. It sounds like a great radio voice.
no, it gets deep. This is
Yeah.
what I did this on purpose, right? But I'm sick, and the thing about sickness is it's completely mental, right? Like there's no scientific data that says people actually get sick. So the bad news is, like normally you wouldn't be contagious unless you're you, right? You're sitting right next to me, but since sickness is mental, I'm coughing out into the world. I'm sending that
Yeah, you're sending that
message out.
That's powerful.
Okay.
So I got one for you.
All right, hit me.
Okay, so you're on a shore and you see a baby drowning and an old lady drowning. You can save one. Which one are you saving?
Baby.
Why?
Well, because
Like,
like
let me throw this in actually. Maybe the grandma is maybe the old lady is your grandma.
baby. See, I already dislike, like, again, we've already talked about how old people
You're
are,
letting your grandma drown over a stranger baby?
if there are 6 grandmas out there and there's one baby, I'm letting it see. Because
What
people,
if this baby goes on to become like a Hitler type baby? Like this, you don't know this baby is going to have a good life. It could actually be bad.
yeah, no, you don't know that, right? But I just really, again, like old people are the cause of a lot of the world's problems, right? And so it's, not that we should euthanize them or destroy them, right?
Oh
but
my gosh,
yeah,
this is
by
dark.
heart.
I mean, it was a dark question, but I really enjoy old people. They have great stories and they say funny things. I don't know, but I think that's a pretty good answer.
Well, babies, have you heard babies? Babies are hilarious. I mean, they're
Babies?
hilarious. I mean, you talk to, like, if you're a baby trying to say a
I
word.
hear babies all
waddle.
day and all night long. My
think-
children.
I think that's a problem. I think you need to go maybe spend some time in like an assisted living center. And because you're around babies so much that you've gotten callous to their, how good they are. And you're wanting to save these old ladies. who-
Yeah. Dude, you know what I saw on the news is they're going to start banning video cameras in Airbnbs. That's brutal, right? Because we've actually been involved with some Airbnbs. I loved, jumping in on other people's family vacations. I felt like I was part of it.
You'd love that. Yeah,
Kinda
you'd
like,
love that.
hey. And they were like, they get a little creeped out. But yeah, officially, I think they're not going to allow indoor cameras at Airbnbs anymore.
Yeah, well, you were always like really respectful. Like when you were dropping in on somebody there, you'd play that cucaracha music, like
Yeah, like a taco shop is pulling up. Yeah, and they would know.
Hey,
Oh, it's the
soy-yo."
owner. Okay, yeah, everything looks good. Looks like you're having fun. Awesome, cool. You guys need any toilet paper? Like, yeah, they hated that. So I could see why they're banning that.
Yeah, we got sued heavily, I think.
Yeah, I think we.
I don't think we ever found out why.
Yeah, I just pay the attorneys. TikTok. Are you thinking about purchasing it?
Yeah, no, that would be sweet. No, that is a very like interesting thing happening in the world right now. Is that whole TikTok, like the house? Because what's funny is I think when this first was being discussed, it was like, oh, the Republicans are going to be the right is going to be like pro banning TikTok, and the left is going to be more like, because it feels like it's a younger generation thing, right? And the younger generation typically will identify more on the left side, right? But instead, it's turned into the right, like the far right, right? Like Trump came out with this big piece on why it shouldn't be banned, right? Which, again, I don't agree with Trump on a lot of stuff, but I actually agree in this case because the verbiage in this bill is basically like giving the government a green light to decide if a company is being overly influenced by a foreign entity.
Yeah.
Which like we've heard a million things about Russian influence and this or that, right? Like there's no due process for that,
Yeah.
right? So it's like a president could be like, oh, I think Russia's influencing, Facebook, and then they could hop on and control Facebook, right? That's what this thing gives them.
Yeah.
Do,
I watched
so.
some comedian talk about it. It's like this communist country essentially is beating America at a capitalistic game.
Yeah.
Like they just beat us in our own game, and we're just kind of shutting them
We're
down.
sore losers. Yeah, we prefer our like spying devices to be domestic. We
Yeah.
want. I mean, we're fine with Google and freaking YouTube and everyone else spying on us, but
Yeah. Do you have any new fun facts for us this week? You
um,
usually have something.
yeah. So, I mean, I kind of have a take actually. I don't know if it's a fun fact, but I'm kind of pissed off about holding doors open, right? And I know you wanted to discuss that. You know, I came to work really upset one day. You were asking me like, tell me what's going on, and I couldn't tell you.
You were very angry.
And it's this, right? So I go to the Maverick to get my drink. Maverick's a local gas station that I
Best
frequent.
place on earth. Yeah, I'm not even into Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is too big for me. Maverick's the perfect size,
Right.
and it has to have. This is the problem. I'll go on with your story, but I
Yeah.
have my own opinions on this.
But anyways, so I go and I get my drink and I'm leaving and a guy's opened the door for me and I don't really notice, right? Because it's like, it's not that hard to just push your shoulder against the thing, but I don't really notice. I walk out to my car and he's like, I mean, and of course it's an old dude, right? And I'm going to come across as really anti-old in this podcast.
You are.
Which is going to really hurt my voter base because I'm going to go after old people in my voter base, but we'll talk about that in my election. But the guy says to me, he's like, you're supposed to say thank you. And I'm like, what are we doing in
Maybe he
this
was
world?
referring to like World War II, like he had been in a war and you were supposed to thank him for his service.
Yeah, maybe that was it. I didn't see his Purple Heart.
Was he wearing one of those veteran hats?
Yeah, you're right. The Jordache. No, that I didn't notice. But I do think that, I mean, how much time have you spent like opening a door for somebody?
Yeah.
Right. That like is fully capable to open that door
I would
for
say
themselves.
cumulative probably 3 or 4 days of my entire life.
For
I've been
sure.
holding doors for people that are just a little too far. And I think they appreciate it, but also they probably are like, just shut the door. I can open the door.
Yes.
This is uncomfortable for me too.
Because then it comes with an obligatory thank you, right? I got to thank this person now.
You really shouldn't. You thank them when you only thank them when you're like at the door, like when you're both there together. But I don't understand. You were back at your car.
No, like I had walked out the door to my car and he had he was in front of me, opened the door and held it open for me, right? Which is like, again, I didn't need that. I don't need your pity or your mercy, but also like this doesn't do a lot of good, right? In fact, it might be hurting some of our more obese population that need that extra, burn that extra
Did you
calorie
get in his
too.
face?
No, I didn't. I'm non-confrontational.
Did you actually tell him thank you?
I'm a practicing non-confrontationist.
Yeah.
No, I like kind of. It's always like I'm driving on the road later, and I'm like, I should have said this or this or
Yeah,
this.
you always think it Costanza style. Like, did you go back and be like, well, they're running out of this?
Yeah. No, but I want to there's like kind of a movement right now.
The jerk store. Jerk store.
The jerks are pretty good. But there's a movement right now to like fight against these excessive tips. I want that for excessive door holding.
Well, I have a
Chivalry.
solution. I have
Go
a
on.
solution for you. I do not go to a store that doesn't have automatic doors.
Oh wow.
I don't open them anymore. I don't want the counters. I don't want to use that muscle. I want nothing of it. So all these new stores, they're putting in the automatic doors to just open for me.
Yeah.
I don't open them anymore because I don't want to deal with
Yeah,
this.
that liability though. That's interesting.
Just makes
Just
us
to remove
sound
it.
like we're really not good in social situations, but I feel like most of the time I'm really nice to those people, but I don't enjoy it.
No, for sure. That's the problem is I open doors for people.
Yeah.
Which I feel like this guy has won that battle, right? Because now I'm out there wasting my hard-earned time opening doors for fully capable door openers,
Yeah.
and I'm sick of it.
Did you just said that? Like, hey, we're both capable. Let's just do our own thing and live our own life.
Yeah, no, that's one of those thoughts that came in my mind.
He has to know you're appreciative. He just wants to hear. Maybe his kids don't tell him thank you enough, and so he took it out on the first stranger he saw. It's like, I'm gonna freaking bust his asshole up right here, just make him feel bad.
Let's put this out.
Let's find that guy though. I want to I want to give him a piece of my mind. I
Yeah.
don't like him.
No, I think we put this out there and just challenge our listeners, all three of you, to, open
You
less doors in your life.
right
Be
now you
less
be on
kind.
like this is off subject, but you right now you sound like a mixture of Biden and RFK.
Yeah, I know.
Like for real. Like you
See,
sound
the vaccine.
yeah.
The vaccine was approved by the
Yeah, you
FDA.
can't. Oh my gosh. So you're hitting up old people or mocking like guys with disorders.
Yeah, I love me some
Man,
RFK.
you were controversial this week. I like it though.
Coming in hot. But what about you? Like, so I know you have a trip planned over spring break, which is like the weirdest thing in the world for I think 90% of the fathers out there of what you're planning to do. But why don't you tell us what do you got going on?
Well, if you don't know us, we travel a lot and we don't try to rub it in anybody's face, but we like to
But yes,
yeah,
we
but
are
we like to
very
get
cultured.
I don't know if it's cultured. It's just we just don't like to be home that often.
It's
So yeah,
ADD.
I am taking my 3-year-old to Ireland for some reason. My wife's has a girls trip, and they're taking like the rest of our kids. So yeah, I'm gonna take little Pepper. Her name is Pepper, and she lives up to her name. She is psychotic and cute and
But
crazy
also-
at the same time. But yeah, I'm just gonna throw her on a bag in the back on my backpack and see what we can do out there. But it's just something to do. If not, I'd be staying at home.
Has she been like asking you a lot about like the Viking invasion
No, she
of
doesn't give a
Ireland in the 1200s?
She doesn't care about that. No. So that's I'm excited to do it. I haven't spent much time in Ireland. We've been to one of my favorite places is we went to Northern Ireland, and that place is amazing. Where they shot a lot of Game of Thrones stuff, and I mean that place is amazing.
Shout out to our boy Rory McIlroy. He's like he hit me up as soon as the pod came
Is
out.
Rory from Northern Ireland? And to our listeners, there is 2 countries. If you
Yes.
don't know,
Rory's Northern Ireland, yeah, because he like
see, I'm going to Ireland.
Oh.
We're not under the crown's rule over there, so
Yeah.
that's where I'm taking Pepper. She's
we call it Orange Ireland.
yeah, because we've done a lot of traveling the last 10 years, tried to, and we make it work. Like I've taken my kids with me. Like it's not always easy traveling, but
Yeah.
what's like, just name one spot right now.
Oh, man.
That just meant something to you.
Yeah, I mean, my number one spot is always Playa del Carmen. I love it there.
Yeah,
And
where's
it's-
that?
That's in Mexico, just about 30 miles south of Cancun.
Yeah,
Very fun.
I love that area because there's that part of Mexico. There's just tons to do. You have the beach, you have the jungle, you have ruins, you have these things called cenotes. They're underground water caves
Yeah.
that you can snorkel and scuba dive in.
Maybe that's where Princess Kate is.
Yeah, she's snorkeling.
They got her in caves.
Yeah, I got her in caves. A lot of times when I'm fighting with Liz, I like to go snorkeling. It kind of like clears my mind. Yeah, big snorkeler. Yeah. But no, Playa del Carmen's awesome. That's a great spot. Yeah.
What about you? What's your top?
England. I love England.
What do you like about it? Because
England, I know it sounds really, it's not like you're going there and getting a huge culture shock. We watch British people on movies all the time.
they're constantly taxing your tea.
But I've had some really just good times in England. Like if you get out of London, like the first thing I did when I went there is I went down to this place called Beachy Head. It's just south, and it's got these dramatic cliffs, and you could literally almost see France from there. So I like to get out in the country, and they had just awesome spots. So I would like to lump in like all of that area. So like let's say anything British over there. So you have England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, all that. I haven't been to Wales, but England, I've taken road trips all the way through there. I've gone to Oxford and to
Cambridge.
Cambridge. It was
Yeah, it's a
awesome.
good spot. You know who went to Cambridge was Sir Isaac Newton.
Yeah. I remember I went on like a little boat. They have like a boat tour there. Like what do they call that? Where they take the sticks and they push the boats along?
Yeah, like a gondola.
No, it's not a gondola. It's like
Well, they call it like punting.
Punching
which
or
is-
something.
Which is
Yeah.
stupid. It's like the British
Yeah.
just doing like you have a very cool name in gondola.
yeah.
What gondoliers? you know.
Yeah, but I love England. I just like the countryside. They have this place, the Cotswolds are awesome. It's like you're kind of like traveling back in time when you drive through there, and so I like to like go through there, check out the little towns and villages, and then just the history there is awesome because they have everything from like Roman ruins, like Hadrian's Wall that he built up, kind of separating the north and south. It's kind of essentially where Scotland and England are kind of cut up. And they just have tons of stuff. Vikings came through there. just everything's awesome there, and the countryside's awesome, and the people. The only crappy part is like you can find good food in England. It's just like if you're in a city, but if you're like in a little village, you're getting like
Yeah, it's not
just their
English.
basic stuff, and I don't. I mean, I don't find it too flavorful.
Yeah, not English food. Like if you're there and you're grabbing Indian food, their Indian food is really good, right?
Yeah,
Um, but their English food.
but yeah,
Isn't.
you're not going to find a lot of that when you get like in some of these smaller villages if you're driving up. So I've driven all the way up. Gone to both like the eastern coast and then headed up to Edinburgh, which is Edinburgh is like top 3 city for me. It's
Really
awesome.
that
It's
high?
just the aesthetics of it. It's built on this like volcanic rock, and it's just this awesome city. It's just cool. It's got a ton of history.
My boy Adam Smith went to the University of Edinburgh.
Really?
Yeah, he's an invisible hand guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Invisible hand.
Visible Hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That place is awesome. So that's got to be, I mean, one of my top places to travel to is just going up through England, County Scotland, going, we've spent time in Northern Ireland.
How do you feel like for me when you're in Europe, so much of what matters is how cool people are, right? Like I think traveling
Yeah.
in general is like I rate a place higher if I really like the people there.
Uh-huh.
Like how do you feel like the English?
English are cool. Like, I mean, I felt like they're all cool. I like to talk to, I mean, they'll talk to you. Irish people are very friendly. Irish people will, they'll come up and talk to you first, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
But
they sense like a
yeah, 'cause
kinship to
listen,
you with
yeah,
all
we
that.
have a lot of family ancestry that goes back to Ireland, so we're kind of
We always sided with the wrong side, right? Like we were always like, our history. We were always like,
we like to
like-
be we like to be the victim a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that's a great spot. What's next on your list?
no, I mean, I just went to New Zealand, and that place is really, really freaking cool. I mean, for those of you who've been to Alaska, imagine Alaska, but like 10 degrees warmer,
Mhm.
which makes I feel like all the difference in the world because Alaska is really pretty and cool and wild, but it's just a little bit too cold, right? Like even in the summertime, you're still feeling like a cold storm could come in. And it's rainy, and Alaskan people. I mean, no offense out there, but that's just kind of a gross breed. Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, they are gross. No, I'm just kidding. We love Alaska. We've been there. We have a buddy that lives up there. We go up there quite a bit. Yeah, I've never been to New Zealand, so I mean, I'd love to go one day.
Yeah, I feel like it's
What's
right
the
up your
food
alley.
like there?
The food was okay. I mean, it was a lot of beef.
What's like a traditional New Zealand dish?
Yeah, it felt like it was like pies, like meat pie,
Yeah.
right? They're big into like beef, right? So I've been to 2 places I feel like that, Brazil and New Zealand, where it's like you have a lot of beef options. The Brazilians, though, they figured it out, right? Because they're like their
Yeah.
beef is 100
Yeah,
times
Brazil,
better.
Argentina, they have good
Oh
meat over
man,
there.
so good.
That's cool. I mean, I want to go to New Zealand just because I love their humor. The Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
I love their pace. I love their dryness. Like, I feel like a lot of the best stuff that comes out of there is like from like Australia and New Zealand. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're a little different as far as humor, but yeah, that's why I want to go there.
Yeah.
And you went to the Lord of the Rings. You went to the Hobbitville and everything.
Yeah, we did it, and then I made like the people came with us like go on like a tour of like sites where they shot, and we dressed up and threw like the whole gear on and stuff.
Nerd
And I got a
alert.
lot of hate. I got a lot of hate messages after that, right? It's like I
Well,
feel like I wear that on my sleeve, right? That I'm like,
Well, were you dressed up as a hobbit?
no, we.
Or were
So
you like
I
an
was,
elf? 'Cause-
yeah. So Kelsey was Gimli because she's kind of got that stocky, like thickish, hairy build.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Your wife is very hairy. Yeah.
And then we have like Cassie, who we went with. She was Legolas because she's kind of got that softer, still masculine but softer.
Yeah,
then-
we might have to cut all this out if they ever. I mean, they're not going to listen to it, so who cares,
And then you have, I was Aragorn. Not over.
Yeah, it's over.
Done.
No, dude, it was
Wait.
like what? It's been over 10 years, but we went to Thailand, and that has to be probably the best place I've been to ever.
Yeah,
Like,
Thailand's
as far
cool.
as like the culture, the people are amazing. They're so nice. They're awesome. The food is amazing. It's cheap. And you have everything, man. You have the beaches, so you spend time in Phuket. You got awesome beaches. You go to Chiang Mai. You got a lot of jungle feel. And you go to Bangkok and see everything you want to see.
Yeah.
But that was amazing. I want to go back there. And that was probably one of the best trips.
Well, I'm
Like,
surprised you
you ever
remember it because Um,
I broke my foot a couple days before that trip. Do you
yeah.
remember that?
Oh yeah,
We took like 100 flights to get there.
and there's a lot of stairs. I don't know if you've seen like Ace Ventura back in the day, but like imagine that, but with a
I'm
broken
trying to
foot.
remember the reference. Ace
If you
Ventura.
remember the slinky and he's like
Oh, the
slinking
Slinky Bar.
down,
Yeah.
that feels like that's Thailand, right? But
Hmm.
it does seem like it's a stair heavy place, right? Like
No, like
pretty,
go up to some of those temples on those mountains that we went to. Yeah, you have to climb a lot.
yeah, it felt really good to be the
I
most
I
physically
took a lot of
gifted held
drugs.
for just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
you were
minute.
fast that week.
You see me,
And
I
people
was
were looking up to you, and
kept thinking I was a gazelle.
I
Well, I don't know what the
felt
Thai word for gazelle is.
yeah, I felt really bad about that. I was used to being the alpha, but yeah, that place is amazing. I'd go back there in a heartbeat.
But you're also here. He is with a broken foot, but he sees me bounding, and he's like, "I got to do something to reassert
Yeah,
my dominance." So we're on this like awesome island hopping like boat ride, and he sees this rope swing off this island into the ocean, and Zach's like,
dude, we are always trying to
"Well, he sees his
impress.
wife. His wife is just inching closer to me every
Yeah, and
moment,
we're
right?"
always trying to impress Dad. Dad's never been proud of us, so I was like, this is my chance to
Yeah.
impress my father
So he
and
does.
my wife at the same time. Yeah, and so I found that rope
So he does
swing.
like a gainer off the rope swing to a head first dive into about 3 feet of water with coral at the bottom.
big rock. I just popped up. I popped up out of the water, and everyone like was so frightened. They're looking at me like, "Holy crap!" Because I remember I hit my head, but I was just like, you're kind of in shock.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was bleeding everywhere, but yeah,
Yeah,
it
we had
was.
to take him to some floating
Yeah,
hospital.
still one of the worst pain, like the stitches they gave me there, because they don't like shoot you up with anything on this little island. They just kind of start stapling you.
Well, I think it was free though, right? They didn't charge you anything, did they?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that spot's awesome.
But you're like, it feels like though your home away from home is probably, you guys do that trip to France to Saint Malo.
Yeah,
which-
we do love France, and I've been to France a few times, and I've learned no French. I mean, I have semi interest in learning it, but like when you have a credit card now, like before, I think you'd have to figure it out more. Now, like, hey, you're paying for things, you just give them the credit card. You don't have to do too much as far as communicating. You're just like pain chocolat, like I want that.
Yeah.
I want what
You're
you
not
have
gonna
in your
say-
hand. I point, and then they give it to you, and like we've spent
You're
a
not
lot
gonna
of
say
time there.
combien coûte pain chocolat?
No, I don't know what that means.
How much is
Let's make love.
they all like all that French you can learn though, it all has a double meaning, you know. They're very charged
Yeah.
sexual people.
They
you know?
are charged. Yeah, I felt that a lot over there. No, I was training for an Ironman when I was over there for some reason. I was like, I'm gonna do an Ironman while I'm here. So I had my family with me. But I would take off and just go like ride to Saint Michel, like on these bike rides, and just see everything in these villages. I ride over to like Normandy. I mean, we went to some awesome spots. We were on the northern side of France. And France is just awesome because you have everything. If you go south, you have Marseille, all that, and it's just freaking awesome. You have castles everywhere. You have tons of cool history, amazing like beaches down there. And then you get north, and it's very rugged. And I kind of like the rugged feel. I like that, and a ton of awesome World War II history. Like that, this town we were staying in is called Saint Malo, and it was like completely bombed out by Americans. So the Americans were coming in, they dropped all these leaflets like, "Hey, get out of town, get out of town." There was only there was Nazis there, and the Nazis had gathered all these citizens and put them in this castle that was like right off the coast there as like prisoners. And the Americans came and just bombed the crap out of that city, destroyed it. But they built it all back up exactly how it was originally, so it still has like the ramparts, the whole walls, and everything.
Yeah.
You should look it up. That town's really cool. But we spent a lot of time there. We love going there. Anytime I can try to work it out to get there, I'm gonna go back. But we just love France. It's cool.
Yeah, it feels like they were like, it felt like people were really kind of surprised. Like I don't think it's a very American thing to do what you did out there, right? Like
Yeah, I'd like to do like not catch people off guard, but just do things that I haven't seen other people do.
you're
Kinda
not. He's not going to be seen at a Senior Frogs.
I'll hit the
with
Senior
me.
Frogs to get my grind on with some strangers. That's not a bad idea, but I do like just kind of not doing. I do research, but not like having somebody go and do it before me.
Yeah,
So I like doing that. So my Ironman race was actually in Luxembourg, which is a really cool town. So like I drove up to Paris, and my kids were super sick, and so we had to stop at this hospital there, and like hospitals are freaking crazy in France. Like you're waiting in line, and because one of my kids had jumped off like a table
Yeah,
and
Pepper.
Pepper hit her head and was thrown up, had a bad concussion, so we had to take her in. But I had to get to my race like the next day, so it was just a long day. I dropped them off in Paris, and then I drove to Luxembourg. Got there like 1 in the morning, trying to figure out where I'm staying. But
And
yeah,
then just do an
anyways,
Ironman the next day.
it
But
was
they like use the metric. So your Ironman was like probably like a third
It took me 20 minutes. So yeah.
of what Ironmans are.
No, it is wild doing so. I did a bunch of races out there, but no one's around and no one speaks English a lot of times at these little local races. And so I would show up and I could hear people yelling at me like I was breaking the rules. I would just be like, I don't know sorry, like I can't communicate with you. I'm gonna keep running or I'm gonna keep riding my bike. Like, so it was kind of funny that way because you don't know, you're none the wiser.
Yeah, to just be jumping with both
And they're like,
arms
hey, you're
up.
only halfway done.
They're putting like flowers over it.
Yeah, it was a journey and an adventure. So I want to do it again, but I don't know. It's not easy with traveling with kids. It's just crazy. Like
Yeah.
they have their mom, and like we would have not to ramble on too much about that time, but we had a funny experience. We always use sound machines for our kids, and so I would just get used to the sound machine, and I had it going all day. I just forgot about it all day. And I'm sitting in our apartment, and all of a sudden, this Frenchman walks in and just walks in, and he's like trying to speak to me in French. I'm like, I don't know. This isn't my house. I'm renting it. I'm like trying to communicate, and he's like, "Sound? What sound? Like what sound?" I'm like, "Oh," and I realized he's talking about my freaking super loud like white noise that's been going on for all day. He was upset about it.
Yeah, I think you chose a really good time to do that though, because I think a lot of people like save traveling for later in life, right? But then like I look at older people get lonely and they want to travel with like their kids who are now busy in their life, right? Like I think forcing your 3-year-old to follow you around Ireland is a very good idea.
We'll see. I mean, it's not
very
not
good idea.
ideal, but it's just something you work with.
No.
If you want to travel and you have kids, you are going to have to sacrifice a bit and just kind of not think too hard about it and just go for it.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, you'll talk yourself out of doing it. Then you won't travel. You won't do anything. So
Yeah, people get, and kids the older they get, the busier they get with like, I mean, my kids excluded, but like sports and other activities, and then it's very easy to get comfortable in just your routines, right?
Yeah.
You won't get out. But
and that's where you make the memories. When it's really kind of the harder it is, the more I remember what like when it's super hard to travel with my kids. It's like implanted in my brain. I'm hoping like when I'm 90 and I have to travel alone or 80 or whatever, that I'll just be able to remember the good times like that.
yeah, I want my kids to remember me screaming at them.
Yeah, that's what they'll remember. Yeah, that's what they'll
bring
remember.
their bags.
But what I'll remember
bags.
is like, hey, we were all good. Like,
No, yeah, that's good.
getting kids to carry bags is Anyways, yeah, France is a great spot. What else do you have?
On my list, Costa Rica, I think it's starting to become more popular. I feel like, but it's an extremely underrated destination. It feels like Americans love Hawaii, but we're a little scared of Costa Rica. But I think Costa Rica has a lot of what Hawaii has to offer, and a lot of like the same uniqueness, and it's actually a lot closer geographically, but there's not a ton of direct flights there, so you have to kind of. It can take a little bit of time to get there, but
did you go to because we went one time when we were younger. We went to Hako, right?
To Hako, and I'm really bad when I'm there because I'm usually like a tour, like someone else has planned it, so I don't know where I am, and I've been turned around so many times in a car that I can't tell if it's the Pacific or the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So if you go there, just I'm not going to tell you where to go because it could be some really bad advice. But I remember being at a volcano, this resort called Baldy, and it was like a water park. And you'd go, and every level you get closer to the volcano. So every level of the water park, you'd climb further up this hill, and they'd have a warmer pools, warmer slides, right? And you get to the top, and it's like this is Dante's Peak, right? Like we're gonna burn alive in this water, but you want to go down that slide really bad, because that's where the coolest slide is at the very top.
That would be the way to go out right there,
Yeah.
Dying in a volcano. I mean,
Oh yeah.
What happened to your uncle? He got killed. He went on a slide in a volcano. He jumped in a volcano.
Scalded. He got scalded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
then,
not enough people get scalded.
well, think about this, right? Say you have you die of old age. They take you to some random cemetery, and your kids will never visit you. But if you die in a volcano, everyone's gonna know, hey, that's where he died. He died in this volcano. They'd come to visit the volcano.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm more likely to visit a volcano where you got killed than go visit you
Like
in some like county cemetery.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
boring.
But speaking of like burning, so have you heard what's going on in Haiti lately at all? So Haiti like has been kind of the victim of a lot of bad CIA operations. I mean, back in the day, it was like French owned, and then the Haitians like got their freedom, but then the French convinced them to pay them back for all the land they took.
I remember someone with I know Napoleon was dealing with that, and that's why he sold Louisiana, is because he needed the money to like
fight this slave revolution,
rebellion,
right?
Yeah.
Well, the slaves revolt, they get their freedom, right, from the French, but the French are smart, and they're like, hey, actually, how about we just sell you this land, and we'll just give you this like loan on it. And so the Haitians like have been really poor because they've been paying on
They're still paying the French?
Well, what's funny is the Americans actually bought the note from the French. They were paying us. Anyways, a lot of really bad foreign policy, but now Haiti is basically it's like become Mad Max style, like where it's just a bunch of gangs that rule Haiti, right? And one dude who's become like this gang leader, right? And it's not like they're literally like these gangs rule these sections of Port-au-Prince, and he's earned the nickname Barbecue because he burns his enemies alive. Not because he's into the chips, but he burns his enemies alive.
We're getting smiles on our face because it seems so ridiculous, but this is actually really happening at the moment.
No, it's a very sad situation, but it's like everyone's like, well, what can we do? And it's like, well, I feel like what we've done is kind of caused this problem, right? Like, just let Barbecue work it out with
I want to be called Barbecue, but like because I'm like good at barbecue. That'd be a pretty sweet nickname. In high school, if you're that's old barbecue right there.
For sure, because then when you're signing your name, you could just do BBQ.
BBQ.
Right? You don't even have to write out the whole.
Man,
you don't have to like
sick.
think, is that a C-U-E or
really
Q-U-E?
Dang, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Was just, and if you ever like want to know what's going to happen to America, just look at Barbecue.
Barbecue. Yeah, we need to bring him over.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see. With us, we already got him, though, right? Can you imagine, like, who are other influencers out there? The influencers are basically to take over.
Yeah, there'd be some
you just got to pick.
There'd be some very weak gangs if the influencers were in charge, for sure. I wouldn't be too worried about them.
Yeah, I mean, the Tucker Carlson gang, though.
Oh, my gosh.
They'll be wild.
That'd be wild.
There'll be a bunch of old people, too, though.
Yeah. Hey, did you see Dune, too?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Kwisatz Haderach. Yeah.
Yeah, Maudib. That was probably the best movie I've seen in 5 years.
Which I was really glad to hear because, like, as like a nerd, it's really fun when there's a movie like Lord of the Rings or Dune where like the normies, and we can like build this common ground. It's like see like when I've been in that room with my books,
like, that the world. Yeah, but what I like about this, I know you're referring to like a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff, like. I like about it. It's a very for the movies. They're very simple. It's easy to comprehend. There's not too many worlds.
Yeah.
That I don't. I mean, I'm sure in the book it's just like super in depth, but just the movie itself, I was like, this is a pretty simple plot to follow.
The movie's much better than the books.
Yeah.
The books and those books were like kind of a little bit like a little too weird, right? Where the movies they make him like in the books he's like all knowing, like completely omniscient character. And so it's like he can't really make a mistake. Like in the books, for example, like his son dies in a raid, right? He has a son with
the
girl. The movies make him a lot more like human, which makes it feel like you're not like you're actually worried about what's gonna happen, right? When he's in that knife fight.
I mean, would you compare his story? They're kind of just copying like kind of like the Jesus Muhammad type story, right?
Yeah, I think the premise of the book is he's like super nervous that it's going to lead to a jihad, right? Like that his life is going to lead to a jihad and there's going to be a civil war throughout all of these planets in the galaxy, right? And he doesn't want that. He doesn't want people to die. He wants to, but he also knows that if he doesn't do that, there's going to be like if he just stops doing anything, there will also be a jihad, right? That's why he's like all knowing, right? So he is like, hey, I want to follow the path that leads to the least amount of like death, like the most peaceful, like overthrow of this government that we could have. So
I realized I was old when I was telling my wife Liz that man, the girl in there that I like is the mom. I'm like,
Yeah.
am I that old? Because like Zendaya, yeah, it's like
No,
she's
it is
the thing, but the mom is hot.
yeah, it is comforting knowing like you don't have that pedophilic gene in you, when you're like
Yeah, but like,
not too attracted to very
but I'm
young
officially
people.
attracted to the older people in movies
Yeah.
than the younger.
No, I feel like that too, right? Like it's like,
You liked her,
oh yeah, she's
and she
good
gets those
looking.
tattoos on her face. No, but on girls, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah,
And she's
she-
like this prophetess. She like would be able to like really just. It'd just be nice to like not have to worry about things when she's just kind of in control like that.
yeah, no, she.
And that's kind of the opposite of my.
But when she uses that voice, though, doesn't that voice just kind of?
I love the voice.
Oh, I did not like that voice. It gets like
Do the dishes. Bitch would just do them. I wouldn't have to think. It'd be awesome. And then like right now, if my wife's like, "Hey, will you do the dishes?" I'm like, I don't really want to.
yeah.
But she would just kind of like command me to do things, and I just do them, and I don't really overthink them, and I don't.
No, I guess you're right because when I hear my wife's voice telling me to do the dishes right now, it sounds naggy and like I just don't like it either, right? So, but if you take that contrast and say like come to bed,
Yeah,
right?
That
Like,
sounded legit. That scared me, dude. Come to bed. Yeah,
I don't like
I'm
that's
gonna
not as much.
I actually got done with the
Right.
movie, and I tried. I was like, if I could do this, I could like command my wife to do things,
Yeah.
and it didn't work at all. I actually did the opposite. We slept in different rooms. Oh, yeah,
That's too bad.
that movie was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Last week's episode, the only thing that anyone ever mentioned to me was that they liked was the Costco correspondent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was amazing. The poppy seed muffin.
Well, that
is
guy,
a
and
hit.
I don't think I think he's anonymous, right? But he's doing the Lord's work out there.
I was told that he looks cold on a couple of the comments. He's got his RT going on. But no, he nails the reviews. And so we're just going to keep him going. Let's check out this week's.
Check it out.
So he does the.
Chicken bake.
All right, Z, we're back again, your local Costco correspondent. We're back with another highly sought after item, and that's your chicken bake here. Now, a few things before we get into the chicken bake. A fun fact for everyone out there, this has 39 grams of protein in it. So you're gonna wanna choke that down before you think about what you're getting into. When you're thinking about a chicken bake, what you wanna think about is the juiciness or the tenderness of the chicken and how it marinates with the other ingredients. So it could be a wide variety of outcomes per each chicken bake. But I will tell you, I find these to be disgusting. And so I would say this is absolutely a gotta go item.
Dude, the chicken bakes are amazing.
Yeah, actually,
That guy, I mean, I was following along with the poppy seed muffin, but his review on the chicken bake is crap.
yeah, I
The
think
chicken bake is. They sell chicken bakes separate, like in a box, and those are almost better than the ones they sell at Costco themselves.
yeah, the chicken bake gets mixed reviews. I feel like I mean I don't know if you noticed I'm a former Costco employee, right?
I remember because you worked there like a couple weeks and you weren't putting the pepperonis on right, and they fired your ass.
Yeah, they
Quick.
did. They got rid of me. But we'd have protesters protesting the chicken bake, right? They didn't like, they didn't like
You had
that it
people
was
out
on
there-
the menu.
hate
But then you'd
these
have the
people.
counter protesters that would come in and protest for like chickens being.
Are you talking active protesters that were just just going after chicken bakes?
Yeah, and it was nice there though too because
Very specific.
they were like the antis were, I joined the anti chicken bake or the pro chicken bakers, and they'd help me push the carts, right? So it's like, instead of me having to push all those carts myself and bring them back, I'd have a few, activists on my side.
I couldn't even tell you what's in the chicken bake. Like, what are the ingredients? I just know it tastes good. So it's very, you got the chicken, you have some some type of gravy or something in there, right?
I think it's like 1,000. I think it's either Italian or Thousand Island. Yeah. So here's a fun Costco story, and hopefully hopefully our correspondent doesn't ever
we can
experience
say
this.
his name.
I was just worried,
Harv.
But hopefully he doesn't ever experience this. But
If you say his name 3 times in the mirror, he shows up with a Kirkland signature product. So you should try that.
yeah, some golf balls would be nice. But no, so I'm out there. And I'm trying to work my way up through this company. I've heard great things about Costco. which by the way, their stock has like tripled since I've worked there. So obviously I did some good things,
Yeah,
right?
you did.
So I'm working there and I'm stacking, you have to scan everything. At this time, you'd scan everything. There wasn't that guy with that magic, cordless scanner thing for you to scan things. You're scanning everything on the conveyor belt and then restacking it into a cart. So I'm stacking stuff up and I get to the end and they have a pepperoni take and bake pizza, which people love to take and bake. I don't understand the draw here because it's the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And it's harder on the environment because you're cooking it twice.
Yeah. We'll see what Harv has to say. Go on.
So I take this pizza and the way I've stacked this, it's kind of formed a point, right? Like a peak. I mean, a pinnacle, an apex of groceries. And so there's not a flat spot for me to put this pepperoni take and bake pizza. So I kind of put it on there and it slowly turns to an angle. And as it turns to an angle, some of the pepperonis slide down because the take and bake pizza is not very concrete. And so some of the pepperonis slide down. And the people were so mad at me.
The customers?
The customers, yes,
Yeah.
who I'd stacked this cart for. And they're like, excuse me, the pepperonis all slid down. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me get you a new one. And so they're just super annoyed. I run as fast as I can back to the back. It's not close, right?
Yeah.
And I'd run back there with their messed up pepperoni pizza. And I go to grab a pepperoni pizza and there's not one. There's only cheese left. So I ask like the chefs back there, they're like, it'll take 15 minutes for us to whip up one of these bad boys. And so I go back there, I'm like, hey, if you can wait. And the lady is so mad. She's like, you ruined this pizza.
Yeah.
And the guy turns back to me as he's leaving, right? He's just this asshole and just walks off with his cart, And
Man, I'm beginning to just, are you the victim or do people just not like you in general public?
No, I mean, there's a few
old
holes
man
in that
yelling at
story.
you at the door. These people with buying the pizza don't like you.
Yeah.
I don't like you.
Yeah. No, I tend to turn people against me, but this one, it feels like these people were turned against society before they came in.
I don't worry about that guy. He's probably dead now. For
No,
sure.
he seemed very vital. He seemed very fit at the time. I was going to
Really?
challenge him.
He
but
was
I'm
too
like,
fit
he's
for you.
sure. Yeah, he's for sure too fit.
Why didn't you call Big Bro, dude?
Well, at the time, it was just, again, it was one of those situations where it's like,
We'll find him.
wasn't
Don't worry.
expecting
It's a small town we're in. We'll find this person.
Okay, good.
Because once they listen to this, they're going to feel really bad.
Yeah, if you are listening to this and you want to issue an apology,
Yeah, we would accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the guy at Maverick did with you.
if he's out there though, I need to talk to him because we got to change some policy.
Yeah. So I know you've always had aspirations to like be in office, but you've had such you have all
We
these
the people.
you have all these skeletons, so it's just not going to happen. But that being said, I'm security. I'll be in charge of security when you are.
Thank you.
Is there like an executive order you would make, like your first one as president?
Yeah, my first executive order would be that I want everything filmed in front of a live studio audience, right? So I don't want any more TV shows because sometimes like you hear something that's really, really funny and you're laughing at it, but you're watching it with somebody who they didn't laugh at it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, then you have to rewind it and you're like going back like, no, like, did you catch like the
'cause
subtlety?
We were born in the 80s, so like we knew when to laugh. Like,
Yeah,
because they
for
told us
sure.
to.
And the other thing is people get super offended nowadays. There's so much that like offends them because they don't know they were supposed to
So
laugh
if you
at
throw
that
in a
part.
laugh track,
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, like it was meant not to be offensive.
Everyone's
Like,
laughing.
If Trump had a laugh track
Oh my
with
God.
some of his things,
People would love him because
Yeah.
he'd just be like a Kramer, right?
Yeah.
Instead of this evil
so
dictator.
they'd be like
that's gonna-
either like a laugh, like clap, or like a oh after things. So he's either like you're either really sympathetic to him, or like, hey, this guy is just like light on his feet.
right. So then like you can't like think of like you have some foreign Putin comes to town and he wants to give a speech and rouse his people, and you're playing laugh tracks when he's like you could use it against your enemies.
That would be the ultimate American weapon.
Yeah.
If we just bring back the laugh track. That's
be
a
like-
great idea.
Thank you.
Huh. Well, that's something to think about this week.